First thing I'd like to do is thank each and every one of you that are here. Would you please look to your left and right, and after you've done that, would you give yourselves a round of applause that can be heard in Afghanistan right now. Please. I'm here for two quick reasons, and I want to get it right before I introduce someone very special that's come from a distance to join us. First, we're dedicating 2 stones today, which we've just done. Remarkable men and women who are on those stones. And we are in the midst of a fundraising program to dedicate another stone that's long overdue. We call it simply our Agent Orange stone. But it's not just a dedication to those who are suffering from the effects of Agent Orange. We're hoping it will remind everyone of the sacrifices made by people who weren't wounded in combat, but who were damaged in combat. Not just by the PTSD, but by chemical and other agents, the effects of which they will carry for the rest of their lives, and their families will endure long beyond. There is a donation bucket someplace nearby. Over by the POW stone. Our hope is that next year we will have a stone erected to all of those men and women. I thank you in advance for those donations. We also have someone here who has a new family member on our stones, the Haywood family. Kay Haywood is here. She could wave her hand someplace. A round of applause for Kay. Kay takes care of lots of things, and to do that, especially for our MIAs, she runs a program called Wreaths Across America. Please support that program. Thank you. Very, very important work. We also have a donation cup for the CHELMSFORD Veterans Park. And I'm going to close by telling you why that's an important donation. And over here, thanks to the students at Neshoba Valley Vocational Technical High School, we have a red, white, and blue mailbox that's not for mail, but it's to retire your American flags. So please, if you have a flag at any time, put it in the mailbox. I think I've covered all of that. Now, all the stars. We are giving every family member here that has a name on our stones a star, a tradition that we've started quite a while ago. When we retire those flags, we cut out the stars and we put them in a plastic bag. Pardon that word, I know CHELMSFORD just banned that, but we're going to be distributing those. You can have a memento of today by accepting a star and giving back a small donation. So we have our stars. Now about the park.
Or not.
Or not. I mean, the donation isn't necessary.
Yes.
The donation is welcomed, but not necessary. If you'll notice behind you, we have our center stone that says, dedicated to the men and women of CHELMSFORD who answered our country's call in time of war and national emergency, and to veterans everywhere. The most important line on that stone is the last, and to veterans everywhere. This is a unique park. It's a park conceived of, built by, and maintained by veterans, for veterans, but for someone else, for you. I'm overwhelmed by the crowd, beyond overwhelmed. I've only missed one ceremony since 1992, but I went to a ceremony the day after Veterans Day. There were fewer than 24 of us there, and it was very, very far from CHELMSFORD. But you were with me. 13 of those people 13 men and women were silent beneath 12 American flags and a Polish flag. They were men and women, young and old, rich and poor, united in only one thing: the fact that they had answered their country's call to stand between those at home and those who would do them harm. It was a very short ceremony. It was just before 3 o'clock in the morning, because it's the only time in the day when a fully loaded C-131 could take off because of the thin air in the heat. And as I thought of them and their sacrifice, I knew that the people at home, not just in the United States, but specifically in my town, knew that we were there and knew that we were doing our job and hoping they would be doing theirs. What is that? Please just consider this. We have the only military that responds to emergencies without a large professional standing army. To be very brief, before World War I, the United States was hardly a dominating world power with its military. In fact, when conscription started, and we needed conscription, we didn't have a large army. They used pickup trucks and broomsticks. The pickup trucks were tanks and the broomsticks were weapons. Can you imagine? Did we learn from that by having a large standing army? No, not us. It took an attack. It took an attack on Pearl Harbor, on our U.S. Navy, to mobilize us again. And our military was in similar shape. Yet within 6 months, we won the most decisive naval battle in modern history at Midway. 6 months. How true it was when Admiral Yamamoto said, "I fear we have waked the sleeping giant." So what does that have to do with all of us here today and all of you? Well, in my opinion, it's not our professional soldiers and sailors and airmen, Coast Guardsmen, Marines who win wars. It's those who are called upon after the emergency occurs. Those that are called to duty to defend us all. It happened in World War I, it happened in World War II. And I'd now like everyone who served in Vietnam to please raise your hand and get a round of applause. That round of applause is to make up for the only mistake we've made that I can remember concerning our veterans, the only one. For these men and women, there were no parades, there was no ceremony, there was quite the opposite. So every chance we have, especially on Veterans Day, give them the thanks that they didn't get when they came home. Thank you, my brothers and sisters from Vietnam.